absolutely pray and hope is the case because listen, everybody, we're gonna. I have. We do have. I did say how many wars do there need to be? Who's to blame for the collapse? And will there be the collapse end soon? What kind of collapse am I talking about? I'm talking about the the Western collapse, the population collapse, because I honestly think, call me absolutely insane, but I don't, I don't freaking, I shouldn't say freaking, I don't fucking care whether or not you think I'm insane, because uh, the West is so amazing. The West is such a the greatest thing to happen possibly ever. The West is absolutely great for innovation and advancements. This nation was founded about 250 years ago, and it's been just going beyond all any and all expectations uh at all ever. And now what I'm saying is that there's a lot of envy in this throughout other various nations, so much envy that it has got us fighting with each other for depopulation. And what do I mean by that? Well, call me insane, but social media has its place. It absolutely does. However, it's also being used as a bioweapon. So many things have been here to destroy us, whether if it's the food, the propaganda. Red food coloring is one of the many examples. High estrogenic things. But I honestly do believe that there's something a lot more that's going on here. Uh, and I honestly think that we need to touch on this, because this is very bad for the for us as a spiritual community and entity, where there are even people which feel do feel upset and sorry about that, are not in their divine element. They're not in their natural element. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have a little bit of the opposite, but so many females are taking on very masculine qualities and having crazy expectations, whilst men are just either giving up, or they just cave in, or they're that soft. The people, this nation has gotten so spoiled that we don't know our places anymore. And I'm not saying that I'm promoting. Now, of course, there are always exceptions to said rule, but I'm saying this is a fucking catastrophe. And I will let the guest come on in if she wants to, come on. Yes, the co-star of the show. And we're going to get into this, because I honestly do believe that social media is being used as a bioweapon, and we are going to be laughing a little bit here.
Hello.
Oh man,
Ugh.
how are you doing today?
Another day in paradise. What can I
Yeah.
say? but it's not horrible. Every day's getting better. Thanks.
So
How about you?
it's going okay. I can't complain 100%. And
Yeah.
yeah. So why don't we get onto this? Because I mean, like, this is I thought we should touch on some things a little bit different, that because I do understand you did mention that we should touch on current events, and we should touch on so many other things, but the truther community, in my opinion, doesn't touch on certain aspects that in my opinion are kind of the nucleus cause of said things. Now again, I don't want to I'm not turning this channel into like any red pill stuff, but we should have a little bit of that content here, so that way, in my opinion, we know what's going what because I honestly believe that the DS, the deep state, the Democrats, the bureaucrats. I said this earlier in the beginning. They've created a generational plot for population collapse and population control. Initially, I mean, like, they're using so many versions of this, but let's let's get on some to this issue.
Sure.
So let's okay. All right. This looks like a nice Zoomer that knows what's going on, and I'm not saying that passively. Hold on. By the way, this is the first time I've ever seen this, so we're all reacting we're doing this all live together. I've never seen this, but I saw the first few seconds and thought that this would be interesting here.
What do you?
Oh, you're about to say something.
Oh, I was just asking what you're uploading, or is it a surprise?
Oh, you can't see it?
Nope.
Oh, up here.
Oh, okay.
Oh wait. I'm still trying to get used.
Time of the world right now,
Can you hear it?
Mm-hmm.
it tends to be social media, because, like it says, the enemy, the devil, is prowling around looking for you. He's waiting for you to to mess up, to go to something you're not supposed to be going to get addicted to this thing so that your focus is no longer up there. So it's down here. And then what does it say to do? It says resist him standing firm in the faith. Well, how do you stand firm in the faith? You have to go back to God's word constantly, because if you're only focused on worldly things like social media and you're not getting any intake from the Bible and from God's word,
I wouldn't go that far. However, you people do need to start looking within, and it is us, like it is social media is, in my opinion, really makes it hard for everyone to survive, because it does because I understand that we have a lot of us have abandonment trauma, and we do try to look, especially at a young age, when we're and especially if you grow up in a broken home or a broken family, you are trying to look for that validation or something like that, and then so you try to look for, you honestly think that the answers are outside of you.
Oh yeah. And that carries on in people's adulthood, unfortunately, too, if they haven't, done their healing, or if they haven't found that center.
Yes.
Says that we don't live by bread alone. We live by every word that comes from the mouth of God. So if you don't supply your life with that as well, you're setting yourself up to be devoured by the enemy. And look, am I telling you to delete social media? No, because that's not realistic.
I'm not advocating for that either, but it's just I honestly do believe everything should be used as a tool here, but I don't. I'm. But when we're finished with this, I do want to do a card reading on whether or not. I'll do a card reading on whether or not that there's going to be like this is going to take a change soon, because I'm going to play some more videos that come that basically just make this very hilarious on why social media is poison, basically the aftermath of all of this.
All on it, and it can be used for great things too. You could use it to make videos like this.
And no, for anybody watching here, I'm not fucking putting in this like, your social media is satanic. Social media is satanic. I don't believe in that. I believe the people who use social media, not all, but they use they are satanic, and I honestly believe that the ones who program it is satanic. But if it's used wisely, then it's not, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Or do something you love, right? But I'm saying there's a difference between using it and it using you. Don't become consumed by and addicted to this thing that's giving you instant gratification, short-term dopamine, because then in your life, when you go to the things that God made for you, you're not going to get the same benefits really and enjoy the fruits of the Lord, because the enemy is stealing the authenticity from you. Don't let that happen. Number 2, the weakening of masculinity, because men are becoming passive.
This is huge, and a lot of people, and one of the reasons why I want to touch on stuff like this is because this is I do see a lot of men in this community not know their place, and they hide behind this, and people to attract the opposite sex. They use this to attract women, and I do, but they don't use this properly, in my opinion, because being a truther or a spiritual man, that cannot be, it can you can be that can be taught a little bit, but it needs to be practiced. But the thing is that when you don't have the cleanest example, that and you have to figure it out yourself, then that's very hard, and a lot of people don't want to do that. A lot of people don't want to do the self work. They think the answers are outside of them, and that's what. And no, the answers are always within, and I say that to everyone in this audience.
Consumers instead of active leaders. We're letting what we see push a fake masculinity, a false representation of what we're supposed to be, filled up with money and women and status instead of godliness, holiness, and leadership, right? And what I'm thinking of is all the people that are saying, and I mean, even people like Andrew Tate and Joe Rogan, like Pastor Tillis mentioned on a previous episode, he said that there's a worldly masculinity that's lacking the faith. And so when I think of these people, the holiness is not there. They're saying that, you know, money should be the top priority, and then get as many girls as you can, and, you know, sleep with as many women as you can. But that's not at all, one, not what will satisfy you, because these things are very temporary. And at the end, if you get into that cycle.
Spoiler alert, we're going to go to another video, and this is where it's going to get really hilarious, in my opinion.
Okay.
Cycle and only chase these things, you're going to be burnt out, depressed, and have no purpose for your life.
Because
yeah.
But here's the thing, that it's like, why, Phoenix, why are you touching on this? Well, because I had my own journey of this of this happening. I was one of these people, and now I'm even more disdained. Hilariously enough, I'm not shown disdain by women. I'm actually shown disdain by other men. And it's weird, but and it's like, why do men and masculine people who are supposed to be the protectors, or even just like, not the generic, but just like the divine masculine, why is that being scoffed at these days, even by men? Men are scoffing at.
By divine masculine, explain that to me.
When I mean divine masculine, I mean he is the captain of the ship. He is the king of the castle. He builds the structure. He builds the culture. He's the one that everybody goes to when anything big goes wrong, and he's there for them, because he's there for everybody. And I'm not saying he's not there for every single conceivable person, but he helps and protects the people who are closest to him, because he sees them as assets, and he wants to, and he knows the world is ruthless. So and this is why I understand a lot of people think that men are narcissistic, but I honestly think that they use that nastiness from the outer world, and they use that as empathy to protect their families and their friends. And what I mean by that is, and it's like, well, the divine masculine, what is that? It's believing in a unity, and making sure that everyone is safe by taking, and they need to take the damage. They need to know what taking certain damage and taking certain sacrifices and taking certain understanding that it's not a safe, happy world, and they need to be doing a lot of battling. They have to be battling a lot of inner wars, external wars, and they need to. I think there's a huge disconnect here. How they are not. A lot of men do not prove a lot of things to themselves, nor to they're trying to prove themselves to the outer world. Let
Mm,
me tell you this. When I started thinking of do yoga as do things for yourself, build your own kingdom because you're the king. I know YouTube and so many people are going to go after me for saying that. Uh, but what I'm saying is that a lot of men are just hyper feminized because they're seeking validation and confirmation. The thing is that the best men I know acknowledge that they need to build things and it's not going to be an overnight process, and they need to do it's basically the laws of attraction. And a lot of people and a lot of people don't want to do that.
mhm.
They don't understand that it is a marketplace. And I don't want to sound like an asshole when I say talk when I talk about capitalism, but the, you're never going to get socialism. I'm sorry. You're never going to get socialism. Never going to get communism. You're never going to get this kumbaya sort of lifestyle. That stuff is all it's not fiction, but that you can accomplish that, but it has to be that you're in peace with yourself and you make sure to maintain peace with others. But the thing is that a lot of that just comes from just they don't want to take the hit. They want things to be fluent and fair and easy. It's just like, and then as soon as they see someone who's way up ahead and has made the sacrifices, has had to adapt,
Mhm.
they get envious,
Yeah.
and then they say, "Oh, you cheated. Oh, you rigged the system. You're the cheater. You're a con man."
Mhm.
They no, I mean, instead they will get envious instead of saying, "Hey, how the hell did you do that?"
Mhm.
But if you follow the narrow road to life of Jesus and you pursue him and godly things like, girls are not pursuing a girl is a great thing when you're doing it in a godly way, when you're looking for
First of all, I don't think people should pursue other people. They should pursue causes. Like, what is your cause? Why are you on this earth? And a lot of people do not try to pursue their higher selves. Is what I'm trying to say. That's what I mean. About like building certain things. It's not living for you. It's about living for the world and thinking of the future as a whole. That's kind of why they say you like live for today, build for tomorrow. Or is it something like that? There's a line that
Yeah.
um I might be butchering that phrase.
someone to spend your life with and create a life with, because think about what sex is. It's two people becoming one person. It's actually amazing because it creates another life. I can't even believe how cool God is by that stuff. But then we see all these people. I mean, you see Lily Phillips, this girl who trying to sleep with 1,000 men. This stuff is ridiculous. This is crazy. And it's just the enemy at work using social media. And we'll get to that in the next point. But instead of being leaders, we're consuming all this stuff and getting caught up in the trap of this fake worldly masculinity that's never going to satisfy you. Back to the word, of course. I want to go to scripture as much as I can because God has all these things and these outlines for how we should live our lives and what we're.
It is to steer away from a hedonistic society, yes. And hedonism is the ultimate destroyer of men. And or just like life in general. I mean, like, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. You need to have a little bit of hedonism. Otherwise, it's going to be boring. Life is going to life is going to be very predictable and dry.
Life
People,
fighting, and you want passion, you want to feel alive, like anything that makes you feel alive and that gives you joy is a good thing, generally speaking. But a good thing could go wrong, or bad. It depends how it's used, and but you can abuse good things.
you can also have too much of a good thing.
Exactly.
And
It's like there's these Diddy trials going on, and his freak offs, and that's just totally viral. It's hard to miss that. I mean, I care about the guy. I've never listened to any of his music. I'm not really into that sound, or even Kanye for that matter. But I was just watching a video earlier. It was 3 months old, but it was about Kanye. The Geraldine. I didn't say that correctly, probably, but he's doing his assessment on Kanye, but it's
mhm.
a or at least a similar thing. I mean, I don't think Kanye is as bad as Diddy, but he's up there. I mean, and it's like, okay, these guys are billionaires. They have all the money in the world. And yeah, they could get any woman because of what they were, but look how insane they are. And look how broken they are,
Oh, that this
disgusting. And it just gets grosser and grosser and more toxic. I mean, it starts out with, maybe some orgy or whatever, and it doesn't stop there. It just gets vile and foul, and it's just like, wow, how can you enjoy this? This is disgusting. This is sickening,
yeah. Well, you gave a you gave a great topic to touch for not Monday, because I have something a little bit more fun, kind of fun, uh, for for uh for Monday, but for Wednesday, yes, that sounds. I think we should touch on those things.
Mhm. Anyways, I didn't mean to change the subject or get you off on it or get you off track. I just kind of thought of that as he's bringing this up, um, because I don't. Yeah, I mean, even with Andrew Tate, I mean, and I like a lot. I'm on board with a lot of his thinking, but I don't agree with everything, of course. But
Well,
that's
I mean, no, it's well, it's he did convert to Islam, and that's a very radical
oh yeah,
uh, religion.
yeah.
Called to be like. And this one really hits me because I got stuck into this trap. But it says in Galatians 1, verse 10, for am I now seeking the approval of man or of God? Or am I trying to please man? If I were still trying to please man, I would not be a servant of Christ.
Trust the science.
So, first of all,
Science, and
if you're looking to
science.
please man, you can't be serving Jesus, right? Because it goes contradictory. The world is not like him. They're different paths, they're different things. But the big point is, if you're only trying to win the approval of people, and social media is a great way that's become this thing that we only care about what people think of us, and the just people to like us from our posts and getting followers to make us feel better about ourselves, right? But if we're only seeking that approval and not of God's, what's going to happen? You're going to become consumed by insecurity, comparison. Remember what comparison is? It's the thief of joy.
Yeah.
And joy is what God wants for us. Joy is God. He doesn't know any different. He is joy, he is love, he's all these things. But we're letting the enemy steal it from us by seeking the approval of people instead of him. And if you think about it, if you have a creator, why would you seek the approval of other people instead of the one who made you? Because they're not going to know what's best for you like he does. And this thing is so easy to do right now. Seeking approval of man like that. It's way too easy with social media. But my encouragement for this point is, instead of letting it use,
because we are very social creatures.
Mhm.
That we are animals. We're social creatures, and when we feel that we're not validated or accepted in a certain crowd, then then we just become traumatized and feel like we're the black sheep. And that's that. And if you grow up with that, especially from a young child, and you're not embraced by the ones who are supposedly embraced, like, because how many people have been dismissed, the supposed children of God? And I'm not challenging religion. I do know exactly what he's talking about. But
Mhm.
how many people practice said religion but malpractice it and kind of use it as an excuse to justify certain behaviors?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I totally get what he's saying, but at the end of the day, we need to know how to balance between the physical and metaphysical plane.
Mhm.
Like, and it's still the people still haven't gotten it down. Like, a lot of people still haven't gotten it down here.
you to compare yourselves to other people and become insecure, remember to read the word of God and what he says about you and who you are before you go to social media. Like, you can go to it, just remember who you are. Remember that you are beautifully and wonderfully and fearfully made in the image of God, and he has a role for you and a purpose for you.
I believe that wholeheartedly. Yes.
Me too. Yeah. And I
Like,
know I went down that ugly road too, where I, you know,
you're
did the
not
whole,
here for no reason. You're not here for no reason.
well, I did the comparison shopping thing, or, I was really kind of obsessed with comparing myself to these ideal images, or people that were more successful than me, that had the better degrees, the better paying jobs, and that were smarter, and whether it's they're younger, they're this or they're that, or have they're in certain kinds of relationships that I wanted to be in. I mean, I beat myself up about all that kind of stuff, where I would really get fixated on it. And it's like this it's almost like it's a form of, you're just digging your own grave at that point. It's not only is it self-sabotage, but it's like a form of it's definitely self-sabotage, but it's just it's a self-destruct, and it doesn't stop. It just gets worse and worse and worse. It's awful. I never want to go down that road again. It's like I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and I learned. And I just thank God and the good people in my life who helped me through all that. Um, and I had some very patient people, because not everybody's patient. Most people are not.
No, not a lot of people are taught to be patient.
No,
I understand life doesn't wait, but sometimes we should wait for yoga for certain things.
right.
With us, with
People
it.
should put up with abuse, obviously. And if a
Oh, of
person
course not. I'm
and if
not
a
yet.
person is unwilling to help themselves, then I understand. Then it's just gonna drain you, and you can't be in that either. but
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
so they're
I've been with the I've had
Mhm.
there are plenty of dynamics that were like
So
that.
I
One
get
that
that, you can't let, if a person is committed to drowning and they're not willing to be helped or saved, all they're going to do is pull you down with them and you're going to drown with them. You can't do that either.
and I understand
So there's,
that's where a lot
but
of people abuse.
the
Oh,
person has to show on some level that they're willing to get out of that. Like, okay, I know I'm sick or I know I'm in a bad place and I know I need to get out of this and I need help with that. Yeah, and I need assistance with it. And no one can do it all for them. And I realize that, like, ultimately, because people could do everything and tell you everything and they could just have all the right words and all the right advice, but it's up to you to do it. It's up to you to hear it. It's up to you to decide, like, okay, I need to make up my mind about something. It's up to you to open your eyes. It's up to you to do the work ultimately, because all they could do is offer you a life jacket and so you don't drown. But it's up to you to take that life jacket and to navigate your way out, and to pull
do
your
you
and to, like, swim and get up and get back up,
do you honestly think that this is a form of population control?
Mm-hmm.
Like in you could because
And
yeah.
if you go to social media with no identity, you're gonna get that from what you're doing, and that is gonna fall. Just like Jesus talks about the foundation of God and in his sermon about standing on the rock instead of sand. And number 3, this one is the worst thing that has come from this culture we're in with social media and everything: sexual destruction. If you want
Mm.
to get a man to follow the devil instead of God, that's how you do it. Social media fuels lust. It fuels addiction and unrealistic expectations of women. And so, I mean, if you can obviously think of what I'm trying to say, all of these platforms, and of course, there's money in it. So there's things like OnlyFans now, where girls are going to go onto it, like I was talking about earlier, Lily Phillips and a bunch of people, to make content completely, obscuring their bodies and being it's sad, but it's true. There's no sense of morals anymore. It's a moralless thing. They only want money, they want attention. And I think it comes from, the breakdown of the family, because a lot of these people have no father in their life. And I think that this is a symptom of that, right? But men are wasting their time chasing images instead of real relationships and biblical marriage, because you're being told all these things, you're seeing all these things on social media, you get locked in, you're setting yourself up for failure. And I, like, of course, me too. I'm not just speaking at you, I'm speaking with you, because yeah, I'm a man. Of course, I know the drawbacks of this stuff. But when all you're seeing is a bunch of fake stuff, you're not going to know what the real stuff is like and how beautiful and blessed God made all this. Okay, 1 Corinthians 6 verse 12 and 13. It literally says avoiding sexual sin. It says, "You say I'm allowed to
That is practically impossible these days.
do anything, but not everything is good for you. And even though I am allowed to do anything, I must not become a slave to anything. You say food was made for the stomach and the stomach for food. This is true, but you can't say that our bodies were made for sexual immorality. They were made for the Lord, and the Lord cares about our bodies." I mean, it doesn't get much clearer than that we were made to glorify God, right? And when you're in a marriage, when you find the person you want to be with the rest of your life, you get married and you have a covenant with them to always be there with them forever. You're coming together literally and physically. So that's how beautiful it was made. And this OnlyFans era is completely distorting the image that God made. It's completely distorting it, and it's getting a lot of men distracted. If all they're doing is going to that stuff, they're not going to have a drive to do anything else. When you get distracted and you lose your drive, how are you going to become the man that God made you to be?
That is one huge thing, and that's what a lot of people, men and women, I honestly believe, is what they've completely lost touch in, and is purpose.
Mm-hmm.
They're asking, what is the purpose? And that is, and I honestly think that this is again, it's very it's very disturbing, because it is a very amazing thing, and to have those sorts of traits, to have those, because there is a I think I said this earlier, but I honestly think building something and trying to invest in something, into something that's even greater than you, that goes beyond even just you, is very empathic. We are being taught that men are very narcissistic, hedonistic creatures, but who love to puff their feathers, and again, to a degree, they kind of have to in order to stick out, but they also have to follow through with certain things, and they do have to, they follow through with empathy, and how do they how do they do that? They know the absolute fuckery of the planet, because they had to live that throughout most of their life.
Mm-hmm.
And good men, they step up and rise above it, but a lot of men are being very feminized, and just being told to fold and just take what you can get. Now, I'm not saying to become greedy. Men should be greedy, but yeah. But I'm gonna play something that is kind of funny after this video.
You can't. Like, you got to pick your poison. You got to either follow God and, put in the work of reading his word and doing the things that sometimes seem like chores. In reality, they're good for you. Or you got to go down the path of Satan and end up depressed, lonely, insecure, anxious, and purposeless. And one more verse on this. I mean, it doesn't get much.
I'll stop it here, because I just feel like he's just rambling right here.
He's a good speaker, though, but yeah, I think we got the point.
Yeah. Now, this is some stuff that I wanted to just like laugh at, because I honestly do believe that it is a form of population control. Yeah, and how can it not be, when there's a mentality like this?
Hold on one second.
Okay.
Hi.
All right, we're gonna be waiting a little bit for. So. And yes. So actually, just so that way we can get something here. Let's just say, I understand that people, they say that an ego is bad. I don't think I honestly don't think that an ego is bad. I honestly think that everybody
Hi, Sprinkle
I
Sprinkle.
I think everybody should have an ego, at least a healthy ego, to protect their energy, to protect their peace, and protect so many like other things for themselves. But so do not confuse the ego with the your don't think that having a bit of an ego is a thing, but having a huge ginormous ego that goes beyond even just you, that is bad, and this is the epitome of what I'm it's going to be really funny. I think it's hilarious.
Hi, Sprinkle Sprinkle. Welcome to the channel. I'm True7, and we're going to be going over some guidelines today for when you go out on a date. So, first guideline is make sure your date is taking you to somewhere nice in the nice area of town, preferably where there's valet parking. Because if you're going to have on a beautiful outfit, a beautiful dress, and some heels, you don't need to be walking through any parking lot, getting your hair messed up, messing up your heels and things like that. So preferably somewhere with valet parking is the type of place that should be suggested on a date.
And I'm sure he needs to be spending $2,000 when he doesn't even know who this person is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Another thing that I suggest when dating is wear something fabulous. Wear something that he's always going to remember. Wear something that's going to turn heads. Okay. I suggest going to House of CB London and picking out a few dresses.
Here's the big secret about women. We want you to flirt with us. We even want you to get
Yeah.
A few outfits, shoes, and all that kind of stuff because they have really classy date night outfits. Or if you're going to be
now, people might be asking, how is this a spiritual? What does this have to do with spirituality and the truther community? I am saying this is the social. She is the epitome of the social programming of a lot of young women today. There are a lot of women who are in the most ideal situations ever. They're married, or they're in a nice relationship with no freaking issues to speak with, and then they watch something like this clown, and it just totally destroys everything. So what I am saying, what does this have to do with this a spiritual channel? When your spirit is tainted with greed and material possessions. Now, I understand luxury is a beautiful thing, and I am not saying for anybody here to live like an impoverished homeless person. Okay? That's not what I'm saying. But when you are putting so much expectation, so many expectations, unrealistic expectations, or something that maybe not unrealistic expectations, but if you're putting a checklist and basically saying that your happiness is based off of where you are, who you're with, then I'm saying that is not happiness. You're never going to be happy.
Mm-hmm. She doesn't really look that happy to me when I see her face. She looks kind of.
And you have to understand one thing that I've learned is that there's a lot of crabs in a bucket mentality generationally. This is boomer think, I call it. Yeah, because it's like it's this catty it's not investing in the future. It's teaching the future how to self-sabotage and never be and look for satisfaction, not happiness.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
dating during the day. They have really
And trust me, satisfaction is
Well, because the kind of guys she's talking about attracting and getting, yeah, you might get someone who wines and dines you, but probably all he's don't think that he's gonna put all that out if he's not gonna expect to get something at the end of the night, especially with that kind of, I mean, granted, there's pieces of shit out there that won't even go to those lengths and expect the woman to still,
oh yeah, I'm not saying that
but
there that men that the masculine. I'm not saying that that the masculine side doesn't have its demons. I'm not saying that they are not. I'm not saying that they're innocent on
I mean,
this
yes,
as
a man
well.
should treat a woman like a lady if he's, if he's potentially wanting to invest in her, but it doesn't mean that he has to, and no one should expect someone to take you to a 10-star restaurant on the first date where he's like has $1,000 bill plus a $200 tip on top of that. That's obviously insane. I mean, it's okay, it's good to start out having a cup of coffee or just a nice little lunch or dinner or something, just get to know each other. I mean, yes, he should ideally court her, but it doesn't have to be like
Well, courting leads to marriage.
yeah,
Courting is you're dating. It's a date with purpose. You're
yeah,
not just
yeah.
you're
But
not.
if you're just meeting someone for the first time, I mean, it shouldn't be like this over the top thing. I mean, that's just
No, you're
a bit much.
just you
Yeah.
just met. You don't know this person.
Yeah, it's
And
weird. Yeah.
and believe it or not, there are a lot of relationships and marriages at that matter where they still don't know who the other person is.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't vetted them properly.
Agreed.
Cute, casual, and
I'm saying both sides.
Mm-hmm.
formal, as well as, sexy, classy type of dresses. I'm wearing one of them right now with the cute little feather jacket. I have a few more that I can show you as a suggestion. So you want them to think romance. You want them to think,
Why are they trying to teach young women to look like they're 67? Good Lord.
How old is she?
I don't know. She looks around my age. She looks millennial.
Yeah, I was gonna say millennial. Huh. I guess everyone. I guess I'm pretty old now, so everyone's young to me.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna drop your age here a lot, but that ball is in your side of the court if you ever want to drop it. But
I've accepted it. I've come to accept it and made my peace with it. It's all good.
but I mean, there are there are women. Oh my God, this is awful. If I saw somebody like this, and I know this sounds like a shallow
But
thing
I'd
here.
like to ask. I'd love to ask. Okay, so how's your love life doing? Are you in a relationship? For how long? And are you engaged? Those are good questions to ask her.
Oh, I thought you were asking me.
No, someone ought to ask her and just say, so how great is your love life going? Because you seem to have all the answers and know what to do and have the best advice for dating. Like, man,
This is
great for you.
What I'm thinking and seeing is that this is sabotage under the guise of advice. This is how to get people's thoughts and expectations and value so inflated that they think that they are entitled to the same 0.01% of men.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying, well, you need to know what men like that look for. And I don't know, but just like the stuff that she's saying is absolutely hilarious.
So you should pick something with, a feminine color, a feminine pattern, and just to get them thinking about romance. So rose pattern is really pretty. This beautiful dress with the little velvet rose burnout. And it has like a bralette on the inside and this little draping part over the top. So it's just
As you're wearing all black, looking masculine AF, looking like a 75-year-old grandma. That is not appealing.
Cleavage. It's a midi dress, so it goes like a little bit past your knee. It's very like flowy, but still fitted. So you're going to be able to still be sexy and classy and turn heads at the same time. This is one of my favorites. So I'm probably going to wear this one on my anniversary this year. Another dress, if you like to be mysterious and sexy and give off that sexy vibe, but yet still classy. This beautiful lace dress with the
anniversary, so she has some fun. Okay, good for her.
Yes, but here's the thing though, which is fine. I don't mind that, but you, in my opinion, you don't go out and say if you here, let's fast
things
forward.
that he's saying, so you know how to get that money later. So you don't want to
Here.
that. When you go out in public with this man, he's going to feel like he's all that. All heads are going to turn to look at you, and he's going to feel very important and very lucky to be by your side. So always want to make them feel like that on your date. So dress classy.
Well, she's not entirely wrong.
Okay,
yes,
this one is funny.
but
No.
Don't eat too much on the date. The reason why is because, first of all, if you're wearing a nice dress, you don't want to spill too much on it.
Don't wear too much on the
month
first
3,
date. That
month 6,
why-
forever.
it's like-
These 4 milestones represent
well, I
Uh,
really
you-
like the food. I'm going to enjoy my food. Thank you.
Yeah.
Make sure
Oh,
you
no.
look so good that he asks you to go out again while you're still on the first date. This means you gotta bring it, ladies. Let me show you this other dress. Y'all gotta bring this. Look at this. Ooh, this is sprinkle. Okay. You know he's gonna compliment your outfit, right? So when he does, here's another guideline. When he compliments your outfit, ladies, even though you probably bought this and are proud to say, yes, I'm a proud owner of a CB London, a CB house.
Never once have I seen her or asked how she should be treating somebody that she's requesting such things from.
Mm-hmm.
A house.
It's all about how to look.
You're
and how
probably
to kinda
going to
carry
say, I'm a proud house of CB
And
London dress.
I don't know, maybe it depends on the guy, because obviously, she has someone, so it worked for whoever she's with, but
Yes, but here's the thing. I mean, there are. I'm gonna say that there are gonna be it to me.
or you could go psycho on them like I do when they fuck up. Just kidding.
I mean,
That's a way to lose a guy.
jeez.
Sorry.
Tell him that it's borrowed from a friend because she has such beautiful, nice dresses that you want it to on when you get home, because he's going to want to talk to you on the phone, and pay for them dresses for the next date. Okay, throw some shoes in there too. Also, ladies, I know a lot of you guys don't like suggesting or asking for things on the first date, but if you just let him know that you're beautiful outfit is borrowed, he's going to want to put you in something of your own. So this is another way you can actually get to go shopping. So just say it's borrowed. Okay.
She's teaching how to swindle a man for an extra outfit. It's just like that is to me, I mean, and you freaking wonder why.
But there's that'll do it, I guess. You know, it's
Yeah,
if
that's
they
called a
really
simp.
do,
That's called
yeah.
that's called a thirsty simp, and a lot of guys frown on that. You people who are in their divine. This is why I'm like saying, why are you bringing like red pill dating stuff onto this channel? It's because this, in my opinion, this is blurring the lines of the divine masculine and divine feminine. This is diluting and saying how to abuse said things, and based by saying everything should be for image, everything should be for lifestyle, it should not be for substance or the sanctity of being a better person. You shouldn't be with somebody who compliments you as a soul, like a soulmate or a twin flame or whatever. You need to be looking for someone who basically treats you like you're 10 years old, and just spoils and pampers you. And I'm saying, well,
That's what, you know, everyone wants something different. I mean, it doesn't work for me because I'd get bored.
No, I understand that, but
I
what
don't know. There's a reason I'm single, I guess. I don't know. I mean, which is weird because, you know, when I was a little girl and stuff, I used to, for some reason, I was obsessed with a lot of Disney stories and movies, and I saw, you know, and I had those fantasies about being with my true love, my Prince Charming, and, you know, riding off at the sunset and happily ever after. And, you know, I imagine something like that as an adult. Maybe not exactly, of course, but, you know, only to
yeah,
realize that what I was looking for was a unicorn, and unicorns don't exist on planet Earth.
yeah, well, I mean,
But I
just
think, you know, I was probably, I don't know.
but I mean, like, don't get me wrong, men have it. Men have their own version of that, and it's let's just say visual, and it's what got made Hugh Hefner very rich. If you want to make sure that if there's like any evidence of just lonely simps, even back then in the boomer times, like that magazine, I'm not going to say which it is, but it's an OG magazine that was huge. That was huge in the 70s and 80s,
90s, 2000s.
yeah.
It was
Oh,
every year, month, decade, you name it.
yeah.
It's still active. I'm sure it's still active. Even after his death. I don't know if there's anything woke going on in it or not, but it's still active, I'm sure. Because that's always going to be, you know, people love looking at beautiful, you know, just insanely drop dead gorgeous, you know, naked, beautiful women, you know, that's just,
But I mean, I just want to ask this: is that the same for women as well? Maybe not the maybe not the birthday suit part, but do they like seeing that on men?
well, yeah, if he has a nice body and, you know, yeah. I mean, for us, I mean, it's not so much that we need to see him naked and get turned on, you know. I don't, you know, I don't know. I don't want to speak for every woman, but it's more like he has to kind of almost, well, it's sort of like, you know, a bird puffing its feathers. That's kind of what men got to do. You know, they got to really like get their swag going or their mojo, and they know how to, they have to know how to look the part, act the part, and kind of, you know, um, and I know it's cheesy and I know it's, but then again, it kind of works too. And he doesn't even necessarily have to be the best looking guy, but if he's interesting, if he, you know,
He has
is
to have some
well,
swag, yeah, some
yeah,
swagger, and
to
just
have like a certain attitude and swag, and just, you know, it's in his aura, I think, more than anything. And just, you know, and also, you know, if he's, I'm not saying he has to be insanely wealthy, but if he has, you know, um if he's established, you know, that's attractive, obviously. It is.
does he need to be making high end six figures, like $650,000, like a lot of people are saying these
Well, that's
days?
a bit exaggerated. I mean, not for, I think anyone who requests that is not living in the real world, but, you know, whatever. Um, because that's not going to be your average person, obviously. That's just very, very low percentage of people.
What is it with a lot? And I'm not, and I want a little bit of an input on this. Why do? And I think this was asked plenty. Why does 99%? Why I would say okay. Why does about like 65 to 70% of the world's population want 0.003 or 0.004% of the other side of the population?
It could be a status thing. It could be a self-esteem issue. It's kind of like, wow, if a guy like that is into me, then what does that mean about me? And what does that say about me? I mean, you know, I've been on and off following Diddy and Cassie Ventura's case because
I'm
she's,
sure she's very catty.
yeah, yeah. But
I would think that that's more of a correction more than a Freudian slip.
yeah. I mean, she really, okay, she truly, truly was a victim of violence and abuse. But the fact that she has the man she has now and she could continue to go back to Diddy, and I guess she was FaceTiming her now husband. No, they weren't married at the time. They were dating, but she was having sex with Diddy. Yeah. That was in court, their court, that got brought up in court. Could you imagine?
I actually could. Because
That's
there are.
that's like twist. That's just gross. But you know, okay, so Diddy, he's got to be the biggest piece of shit on the planet, the biggest, like the lowest scumbag.
Scumfuck.
But you have all these, you know, apparently she was one of the many girls that was dating him, and it's like he had all these girls vying for his attention, and he had a lot of girls he was entertaining, including his then, I don't know if she was his wife or she was I mean, he had a lot of kids with her, Kim Porter, and there's question about how she died too. But and she was a beautiful woman. She seemed like a good woman. You could just tell by her aura, but yeah, it's really sad. But anyway, I don't know why I brought that up. But yeah, my point is that, yeah, these, I think Cassie was very young at the time when she met Diddy, and, he was this mogul billionaire, rapper, and just, he was on top of the world. So what woman, I'm sure it was very alluring and very attractive, until she got in. But even then, she kind of acclimated to that world. And, there's a lot of hearsay, like whether she was into it or if she was a victim of it. I'm sure it's a little bit of both, probably it sounds like. But I mean, I don't know. I really, I think, oh yeah, you asked me a question like, why do these women go for that? I think it's kind of like, well, I think of even Trudy and Sting, but they've been together for over 40 years. But, he was already married to Frances at the time. And here she is, she comes along and she kind of weasels her way in. Granted, I wasn't there, so I can't say verbatim what happened, but I could guess, like she wanted her man, she became her quote unquote best friend, and she, and ended up sleeping with her man behind her back, and and her husband slept with his wife's best friend. And it's just but it's like, yeah, because, not only is he good looking, but, his career's peaking and he's on top of the world. And it's like I imagine Trudy at the time was a starving artist and aspiring to get somewhere. And it was just like, she didn't care how it affected other people, because obviously he already had a family. She just wanted what she wanted, and she didn't think twice about how it would affect other people around her. Neither did he, though, for that matter. I mean, granted, they stayed together, and I guess sometimes people can fall in love and fall out of love. I mean, so who knows? I mean, I wasn't there, but that's wild. Um, so I, I think, well, I guess if you want to nest, you want to be with someone that's a provider that can help provide that nest for you so that you can lay your eggs and, and I don't know, fertilize the eggs. I keep it going. But I think just biologically, women want to be with someone that can take care of them and can provide for them. And
There are plenty of them. There are plenty
Mhm.
of them who can do that, and
But
that
it could
need.
be ego, it could be, but you have to ask yourself, okay, who are these women? Who are these women that want these 0.01% or whatever? I mean, is that the kind of woman you want?
I personally. Are you asking me?
Yeah. Is that the kind of woman you want to impress or get? Who?
I'm very impressed by a woman's character, and what I guess I would be asking her a lot of stuff that would be considered as misogynist these
Mhm.
days.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't say what those are live, but
Well,
I will.
everyone bags on Trump about the comment he made years and years, decades ago, I guess.
All right, so what he's talking about, that is a groupie thing. When you're rich and famous, women will let you do that to them.
Mm-hmm. That's
He,
what he. But a lot of
all
yeah.
right, yeah, he's talking about. All right, I'll cut it loose. He's talking about whores.
Yeah.
He's talking about whores. He's not talking about your classic ladies
You're
who,
gold digging. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like and
But someone who wants their man to only be like of that caliber is probably going to be a gold digger,
and he'll and
or
here
fish.
he'll bang, he'll sleep with and date he'll fuck the gold digger. He will bang her, and she'll think in her head that, oh, we're officially together. It's like, no, you're using me for my pockets. I know you're not with me in good taste, so I'm just throwing it back at you. And a lot of if a woman could tell that that there was another guy that had ulterior motives, and she caved in and used it at him in return, as to throw that shit back at his face.
Mm-hmm.
Then I wouldn't mind that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all about motives, and a lot of people do not have the.
Women assume that men only want the most creme de la creme women, and I do know men that are like that. Like, she has to be a 10, she has to be a certain height, a certain weight, a certain body type, hair color, eye color, and facial, she has to be
Yeah, those people are more often than not going to be incels. Those, and I'm not talking about, like, and I'm not saying that in a catty way, but that is, but in a, and I'm not saying that in a feminist way, but it's like, okay, if you're gonna go out and say that she has to be a 10, she has to be 6'2", she has to do all this, that, and the third, they're doing the exact same thing as these women are doing.
Oh yeah.
He has to be 6'5", because I'm 6'1". Okay, I'm 6'1", and he has to be 6'5". No shorter than 6'5". He has to be making $5 million a year. He has to be 30 years old. He has to even he has to be young and youthful and be a go-getter, but have the aesthetic and the wisdom of someone who's 55. It's like, that's the unicorn man, and there are men out there who are guilty of the same thing. There's a unicorn woman. She, and I heard that kind of stuff. Oh, she can't have kids. She has to be making $5 million. She has to be an angel, but she has to also be a freak in bed. She has to be hot. She has to give me some 3 times a day, cook for me, and rub my back, and she needs to be the breadwinner. Men have their version of that.
Yeah.
it's
Well, those people are going to be very, very lonely because that's a very, 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 very small and extremely rare number on the planet.
oh yeah, you
And if
got
a woman's like that, she's gonna, she's not gonna look for some loser slob, she's gonna want somebody of her caliber.
well, unfortunately, if you ask for, I honestly do believe if you ask for everything, you deserve nothing.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that's what and that's what and that's what
Yeah.
happens. And you got and I even say that towards men. It's not exclusively towards women, okay? It goes both ways.
Sure.
If you honestly think that you're entitled to someone who is creme de la creme, and yet you do not have anything to offer besides your presence, then that's a liability. And God knows what you are in terms of because I know a lot of whiny, effeminate men who bitch about how life isn't fair and why do all these other people get these women, I don't. It's like, well, with all due respect, you're a bitch. You're very whiny. You're high estrogen. You're high estrogen. You don't want to work on yourself, and the same complaints men have towards women, women have towards men.
Mhm.
So it goes both ways.
Yeah.
I honestly do believe, though, because of this crazy unrealistic beauty standard kind of stuff, it is actually easier to distinguish the authentic the authentic beings and the ones who are just looking for a come up and looking for a flex.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, authenticity is always going to be the ultimate flex.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
your authentic self, while it may repel many, it's going to attract the right one eventually. It may not happen right away, but at least, when you're your authentic self, it'll weed out those that don't belong there anyway.
because the thing is that a lot of people wear these masks and say, what happened to this person? I didn't know. It's like, well, they were using a mask because they just know what works. They know how to emulate something that works.
You
And both,
got to catch something, but to keep something, that's a whole other.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
there's a lot of those that know how to catch. They know what to do at the onset of romance, but but everything else they suck at beyond that.
and and believe it or not, there are lots of those in this community. And if you people want to say what, that we're not pure, we're not this, whatever, and you find this stream where you want to shit on us for saying that we're reptilian or we're not welcoming, we're not real truthers, it's like, well, I understand. I understand you may be frustrated, but you're just looking yourself look like a clown. I'm not saying that there are exceptions to the rule. We're talking about the rule, though.
Mm-hmm.
Of course there are exceptions to the rule. But again, why I'm saying this is that this kind of thinking, why I bring this up is because this line of thinking, we cannot evolve, and that is what the cabal, the DS, is really trying to do. it's really trying to disconnect us and create all of these wars, gender, race. And that's why I'm asking, who's to blame for the collapse, and will the collapse end soon? And what do I mean by will the collapse end soon? Is like, are we going to finally realize that at the end of the day, we want the same thing, but we just have different ways of pursuing it? But are we going to understand that we've been programmed by these people, by the high and mighties, by the DS, to be fighting basically not be better? Because that's what we are meant to do. We're always meant to be better. Even if we're at our best, we can always do a little bit better. I can always do a little bit better.
Mhm.
I'll admit that.
Oh, we all can.
But you know, just, yeah. Well, I mean, oh, you're about to say something.
Oh, I'm probably gonna log off on here.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was gonna call it a night myself. That's it for now. For everybody.
Thank you.
Leave in the comments section. Are we is this a way of depopulation and a way of I would say volunteer castration of humanity, or do you not think this kind of line of programming? Leave that in the comments section. I'll see you next time. We'll see you next time, everybody.
Night.
Night.